Pronto, Vincenza.
Pronto, Randy, and pronto, everyone, to the Pronto Podcast, our lifestyle podcast. And it's our 33rd episode where we talk about all the beautiful things life has to offer, whether it be fashion, motivation, self-care, goals, inspiration. We talk about it all, and I love it. Isn't it so great?
Yeah. Summertime is a time for like excitement and doing something different. Right?
Exactly. So speaking of summertime, how has your summer been?
Excellent. Yeah.
Really? So have you been busy?
We have. It slows down for the 4th quite a bit. But 2 weeks ago, I was in Nashville for a Redken Symposium, and along with like 6,000 other people.
Oh, goodness.
But, Nashville was not my kind of town.
No?
Yeah.
I hear it's a good time.
Yeah. I think if you're young, it's
Okay.
a good time.
All right. Well, I don't think I've ever been. I think I've been to Nashville once, but it was passing. I don't think I had a chance to really take it all in, but I heard it's fun.
Yeah.
But you always travel for something to do with hair, the salon, education, which is great. And I think we talk about this all the time on our Pronto podcast, that education is key. And no matter what age you are, no matter at what point you are in your career, whether you're an entrepreneur, small business owner, whatever it may be, you should never stop learning.
Yeah. If you stop growing, you're dying, right?
Yeah. No, you have to continue to be open-minded to learn and also adapt. Yeah. Right. We've had to adapt over the last few years. The last few years has been really tough as a small business owners plural, both of us. And we had to adapt tremendously, and we continue to adapt. Right. And that's something that we constantly talk about, being open-minded, but also willing to learn.
Yeah.
So I've been busy, and I know you've been following.
Yeah. You're going to the Miss USA pageant and Teenage USA.
Yeah. So Miss USA, Miss Teen USA. Yes. Yeah. I will be heading to Hollywood for the Miss USA and Miss Teen USA pageant, which is coming up in a few weeks. So Miss Teen USA is August 1st and Miss USA August 4th. Oh, wow. I believe so. August 4th. I think I'm right. I hope I'm right. It's coming up very quickly. So I'm preparing my 2 title holders, Miss Delaware USA 2024, Alyssa Bainbridge, and Miss Delaware Teen USA 2024, Kayla Kosmolski, and they are almost ready. Yeah. They're almost ready. They're so excited and they're so thrilled to head out to LA for the national competitions, which they're so excited to be a part of and honored as well. And so they're gearing up for that. This is the part where we're just getting together the final details, right? The last minute details, the hair appointment, the nail appointment, thanks to Curry Hair, Skin and Nails, one of our amazing sponsors. We're so excited and honored to have him on board. You and your entire team.
Thank you.
We're very, very thankful for that.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you. But not just that, but also preparing their wardrobe. They have their evening gown, their interview dress, their state costume, which is really neat. Just so many little details they're putting together and just getting any last minute training in and whatnot.
It's always in LA?
It usually changes every year.
Really?
So I want to say it's been a few years. They used to have the pageant in LA long time ago. I don't remember. A long time ago. The last few years, they were not in LA, but it's really great that they are going back to LA. So very excited. I've never been to Hollywood. It's my first time. Have you been?
It's really nice. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Never been. What's exciting? Anything I should check out?
It's just like the history, like some of the old rock clubs and, the Beatles will perform, like a long time ago.
Okay.
So
nice. Excellent. Well, I am excited for the national competitions, and I'm wishing Alyssa and Kayla so much luck. I'm already so proud of them. They've worked so hard, and I'm already so proud of them, but very excited to spend some time with my fellow state directors. And speaking of state directors, we have the honor of introducing our amazing, incredible guest for our 33rd episode of Pronto. JScot Reid is the fourth generation to work in his family's business, Marion K. Spices, founded by his great-grandfather in St. Louis, Missouri in 1922. Marion K. Spices, renowned as the world's finest spices, has been in southern Indiana since 1949 and proudly celebrates over a century in business. Actually, a fun fact, J. Scott's grandfather helped Colonel Sanders formulate the famous secret recipe for Kentucky Fried Chicken. So neat. We will be talking about that. But J. Scott earned a degree in telecommunications from Ball State University before returning to his hometown to contribute to the family business. He has also dedicated time to various community and state organizations, including the Indiana State Festival Association, Schneck Memorial Hospital Foundation Board, and the local Chamber of Commerce, as well as a local festival chair and United Way. J. Scott is now an international event and destination wedding planner, transitioning from family business to events. He has curated events in over 100 cities across 35 U.S. states and a dozen countries, driven by his mission to live, create, inspire. This fall, he is launching a digital course, Plan Your Wedding Like a Pro, aimed at couples seeking professional guidance for planning their own weddings. Well, he's very busy, but we're not done yet. J. Scott's work has appeared in numerous publications, including Bridal Guide magazine, Ceremony magazine, Wedding Chic's People, the Indianapolis Star, and Indianapolis Monthly. His international recognition extends to features in Aruba Today and the British Sun newspaper. As a professional MC and host, J. Scott serves as the executive state director for Miss USA and Miss Teen USA in Indiana and West Virginia. His global journey with pageantry has obviously seen him as an MC, judge. He's produced, he's directed events throughout the United States and abroad in locations such as Estonia, Latvia, Germany, the Bahamas, China, and more. Very, very busy. An adrenaline junkie and spice aficionado, J. Scott loves traveling, experiencing new cultures and cuisines, and has embarked on over 50 international trips. He resides in Indianapolis with his partner, Kyle, who I love, and their nearly 2-year-old Cocker Spaniel, Poppy. Please welcome the famous and amazing J. Scot Reid. Welcome.
Welcome.
Oh my goodness, you are too kind. Oh my goodness, thank you for inviting me onto your podcast. I've watched several of them. As you've now into your 33rd episode. But yeah, Randy and Vincenza, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
We are so honored to have you, J. Scott. So for those of you who don't know, I have a phenomenal friendship with J. Scott, long time friendship right now, because obviously we share similarities in the pageant world as being state directors. So we are both on the same boat right now, preparing our title holders for the national competition. But thank you for sharing that.
Who's that beautiful bride?
That's so special. So
exquisite bride.
Thank you for sharing that. J. Scott was my wedding planner, for those of you who don't know. Wow. And he also gifted me that sash. How fitting. Miss to Mrs. He had that made. So thank you for that. And we will touch on that, obviously, because that is something so special and so unique that you do in your career. Obviously, you are so diverse in what you do, and you do many, many things. But I think your passion is definitely creating these events, these special moments. And that's something that you are gifted in, truly gifted in, coming from experience, but truly gifted in. And I was sharing with Randy, J. Scott, that we had to have you on our show because you're so accomplished, and people need to hear your story. They need to hear what you continue to do, and you're not done yet. This is only the beginning. Like this is just like chapter. I feel like, yes, it's like more than one chapter, but I feel like this is only the beginning of your career and what you continue to do as creating these beautiful moments. That's what I feel like you do. Like you really have this ability to create these beautiful moments.
Well, I thank you so much. You're once again much too kind, but thank you so much. And that was a big decision for me. It's one of the hardest decisions I had to make in my life, was to leave the family business and go out, on my own. But I did find that passion through events, and and as you said, I've now curated events in over 100 cities, more than 35 states, more than a dozen countries, and I just feel so blessed to have had these opportunities. And so, yeah, thank you so much. I love what I do.
Well, you have an incredible history, and I know a lot of it, but I did not know the fun fact, which I thought was pretty neat. So let's talk about the Spice Company, because I think that plays a big role in your life. It's a family business. It's a big part of your life, the foundation of who you are and your family. So let's talk about that a little more. So I touched on
absolutely
fact about Kentucky Fried Chicken, which I thought was really cool. Wow. But let's go back more. So could you share a little bit more about the Spice Company, Marion K. Spices?
Yes, it was started by my great-grandfather in 1922. And one of the ways that he thought, one of the only ways that you could beat the competition was to have a better product.
Mm-hmm.
And his first name was Marion. His middle name was Cordell. He took the K from Cordell and spelled it out. And he traveled city to city, town to town, selling to women's groups and organizations, never presenting himself as the owner, but presenting himself as the salesman, because he thought women back in the 20s would be more apt to buy from a company that was owned by a woman. And my great grandmother was, instrumental and actually working, with a lot of the blends and stuff. But one thing led to another. He started selling vanilla, and then it eventually led into spices. And so we don't use any additives or fillers in our spices. And it truly, the tagline for the company is the world's finest spices. And so we start with that finest ingredient. And I say we, and it sounds like I still work there, even though I left I went out on my own about a decade ago. But I still refer it to as me, as if I still work there. But our entire family, even my cousins that don't work there, we just feel it's such a big part of our family. And we all still get together at Christmas. In fact, we host part of our 3-4 day family reunion at Christmas time. Part of it's at the factory itself. And so it's in a small little town, but most of their business is restaurants. So 85% of their business is restaurants that they sell all across the country. And then there's a full retail line of spices as well. So fun fact, and you did mention about the Colonel. So when Colonel Sanders started franchising Kentucky Fried Chicken, obviously there has to be consistency from store to store. And when the Colonel came up with his secret recipe, he used cups and teaspoons and tablespoons, which obviously, Vincenza, owning a restaurant, that if I were to get a cup of flour and your cup of flour, if we weigh those cups of flours, we're not going to have the same weight. So it wouldn't be, consistent. So my grandfather actually, they had met, became good friends, and pictured there is the Colonel Sanders and my great grandfather. But it was my dad's dad, my grandfather, who helped him formulate the secret recipe. So he took the Colonel's recipe, and encouraged him to elevate his pepper, which happens to be my favorite spice in the entire world. And we import a bold Telecherry pepper off the Malabar coast of India, and we have a sneezeless pepper. So it's a lot of times when people smell pepper, they sneeze.
Yeah.
Well, when you smell Mary and Kate pepper, you do not sneeze, because we don't have ground pepper, we have granulated pepper, there's a big difference. And my grandfather invented this machine, so it goes through the entire process, but so you get pure, real pepper. Well, but back to the Colonel. So he did start using our pepper, and so my grandfather actually helped him formulate the mechanics of the recipe by weight. So therefore, a short moment that during that walk from the RD kitchen to our main kitchen, my grandfather was the only one who knew the secret recipe. And so the Colonel never wanted anyone to duplicate the recipe. So we all know, if you watch, television, those Kentucky Fried Chicken television commercials, it's the secret 11 secret herbs and spices. There's about 17 or 18 ingredients. So the Colonel never wanted anyone to be able to copy. So he's like, you know what? Let's not tell everybody how many truly ingredients there are. Let's just keep it at 11, and they'll never be able to duplicate it.
That's so neat. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's really, really neat. I had no idea.
What's the biggest selling spice?
The biggest selling spice, well, as far as the spice trade, pepper actually accounts for about 20% of all the traded spices in the world. And pepper comes from, a lot of countries. It's more of a, you can find it in Brazil and Indonesia and Vietnam. Vietnam's a big exporter, but the highest quality of pepper is off the Malabar coast of India. Wow. And so what does 99X mean? So there's a lot of people that follow the kernel, and they've always tried to crack the code, and they always try to come up with these, how can we get the closest to what the kernel's secret recipe tastes like. So 99X is the blend, is the foundation blend of the secret recipe. So my grandfather said it was 99% the kernel and 1% him. So you can actually order 99X from the Marion K. Spice website or call the factory. I think it's 1-800-62-SPICE is their toll-free number. And that's what restaurants use. So they would take the spice blend, the 99X, they would add 3 pounds of fine flake salt and then 25 pounds of flour, and that's how they would make their chicken breading. But if you just order the chicken seasoning plus, it has the salt in it. You just need to add it to the flour. So you can have a little KFC of your own.
That is so neat. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So I have to say, I had the opportunity to test these spices because, JScot is just so incredible. He gifted me spices when I went out to judge one of his pageants.
Oh, wow.
And it was the most coolest gift to get. And I have fallen in love with the dominant one, right? Is that the dominant one?
Oh, yes.
That is my favorite one. It goes great on chicken, fish, my salads. It goes great on everything. Everything. I actually ran out of it, so I would be calling you to let me know how I can get more. But
I'll bring you some in LA. And in Vincenza, since you own one of the best restaurants which I've been to in Delaware, I know it's voted as one of the best restaurants in every year. That means a lot. So for you to say that the dominant one is one of your favorites, that truly means a lot. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, of course. Literally every day I use it.
What's it consist of?
Oh yeah, so it's a good question. It has a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, but it has all this other goodness in it that it's more than just salt and pepper. It really is.
It really is. You can use it on the oven, the grill, the stove, on eggs, steak. Coda ham, it's the only ingredient you need for a ham. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it pairs very well with so many different ingredients. Is like ham is a great one. Eggs, I put it on my scrambled eggs.
Oh, it's really good on eggs.
Good, so good. Chicken is my favorite with my salad. I make a lot of salads at the restaurant, and I'm always eating on the go. And I take that seasoning and I just go and a little bit of olive oil. Done. That's all I need, and it tastes so good. So he does have another one, the brown sugar, right? Cinnamon brown sugar. No, cinnamon sugar.
Cinnamon sugar, yeah. So a fun fact. So the cinnamon it grows like on the bark of a tree. It's one of the only trees in the world you can cut into the bark and it doesn't harm the tree because the bark grows back. And cinnamon is graded upon its oil content. And so a high quality cinnamon will have like a 5% or higher oil content. So back, during the Vietnam War, so the highest cinnamon is Saigon cinnamon. It was a region of Vietnam. That's where these big trees would grow, and they exported a lot of cinnamon to the entire planet Earth. But during the Vietnam War, they burnt down a lot of those trees. So my great grandfather went into Vietnam, basically conquered the entire world supply, bought every single bag of cinnamon bark. We had this great big warehouse. We have a museum at our factory, and you can go into the museum, and there's still 3 bags of those original bags of cinnamon that are still there. But it took a long time for those trees to grow back. It's not quite in Saigon and the region, but it's still called Saigon just because it's native to Vietnam. But you're right. The cinnamon sugar is a family favorite, especially if you have children. You cannot go wrong. The blend and just that quality of cinnamon. I tell people, when you see, smell, and taste the difference, you're having the world's finest spices. And when you taste the cinnamon that anyone else has grown up on, and then you taste our cinnamon, your cinnamon actually tastes like dirt. I'm sorry, but that's the fact.
Listen, coming from an expert. So we actually have used the cinnamon sugar in some of our cocktails at the restaurant at V&M Bistro. So even just rimming the martini glass for maybe like a specific cocktail. I won't give out all the ingredients. My sister will kill me. And I was like, we need to use this cinnamon sugar. I think it taste really good on a cocktail. And, Margarita was like, I got this. So, the spices are really, really good. I mean, exceptional. Highly recommend anyone listening and tuning in. Definitely check out Mary and Kay Spices, but also Randy, you need to check them out. But we got to shift gears because this is not what JScot's all about. Let's talk about what he's all about. So shifting gears, and I'm sure the history of being in a small business and being in a family business has helped kind of set that foundation for everything you're doing in life. And talking about an international destination wedding planner, I really want to get into that because I do think that's truly your gift. You are
thank you.
Very gifted at it. Coming from an experienced of hiring you as my wedding planner, you are gifted at what you do. And so I want to talk about that because I think it's a really big part of who you are. So what is your favorite part of planning weddings? And let's dive into that. What's your favorite part of planning weddings?
Well, as you know, being engaged is such a journey and it's such a special time for the couples. And I really try to highlight that at the very, very beginning to really enjoy that process. Because once you're married, the focus is off, but you have that special glow as a couple. And truly, my favorite part in the planning journey when I'm working with clients is during the site visits. So I plan a lot of destination events, and a lot of times I would go to that destination at least 3 times, but sometimes 5 or more times during the journey, just depending upon the event and all the logistics. But it's during those site visits that we get to spend 2.5 or 3 days together, and I really get to know more about the couple. A lot of times during those trips, they'll bring their parents or sometimes a member of their bridal party or the groom's party. And so I start to build those relationships. And that is where my tagline is live, create, and an experience. And that is where I really focus in on what they're saying and what they like and what they're experiencing. Because sometimes when couples get engaged, they go into this wedding box sometimes and they stay within the wedding box. It's like, let's get out of the box,
right,
and let's experience and stuff. So to answer your question, it's really those times that I get to spend with my clients when we're on those trips, because they're so fun. And you get to see how funny they are and what they're really passionate about and what they really like in life. And so I try to pull that and then pour that into in creating and curating their event.
So let's talk about this picture. What is this picture all about?
So that is funny, and I should have pulled more pictures, but thank you for whoever went to. I guess maybe they pulled that off of Facebook.
We credit the production for that.
Yeah. So this was a wedding that I did last summer at one of the most iconic places in America, Hotel Del in Coronado, which is right across the bridge from San Diego. And I've planned, I think, 3 or 4 weddings there over the past 10 years. And so this was the escort card. There was a lot of disco balls at this particular wedding, and there was a lot of hot pink. So it was before the Barbie movie came out, but there was a lot of pink. But when the guest entered into the foyer of the dinner reception venue, you can't really see it on this photo, but it's acrylic, and then all the guest names and their table number were listed on that. So what this did, it started to introduce what was to come later into the event. And so we had hidden disco balls within the ceiling, if you will. We had a faux fake ceiling that was made of fringe. And so when the after party started, the lights shifted, the music shifted, and all these disco balls came down and floated down over the dance floor. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. What an experience that you created. And I'm sure with the vision of the bride and the groom helping you, obviously they're, and that's something I have to always say. There's something about JScot that people need to understand. Like when you hire a wedding planner, they're there to help guide you and where you want to go, not tell you what is best, and not
100%.
and that's something that was important to me and my husband, but also JScot was very good at that and achieving that and listening, being a good listener. And I mean, obviously the bride and groom of that particular wedding, they had an incredible vision and you made it come to life, because I did see pictures of that wedding. You need to go check out his Instagram page.
I will.
I don't know if we could put the Instagram page on the screen. It's at jscot.planner. If you can put that on the screen, and people should go check out all the photos from this beautiful wedding. It was spectacular. Randy, you'll appreciate it. Just the details alone, because Randy's also very detailed. Oh, thank you. Yep. So there's at JScot. That's your personal one. And then the business one is at jscot.planner. Is that correct, JScot?
Yes, and I will be honest, I'm not the best at posting from event. Like, I'll have weddings and not even post one photo, one image from it. And so I really need to hire a social media manager or somebody to do it. But this particular wedding will be published in Destination I Do magazine. So we were held back from posting a lot of photos. So after it goes through and it gets published, I'll be able to release a lot more photos. But that particular wedding was one for the books, and that couple was so fantastic and so fun. And they did a lot of personal things that made it a lot of fun. So, but thank you so much. I appreciate the shout out.
Yeah, of course. But it's the truth. And I think that's important for, future brides and grooms, coming together and they're looking for a wedding planner. There's a lot that goes on with planning a wedding. And you obviously, whether it's a wedding or an event, let's talk about that. Because, there's a wedding, you do weddings and events. So there's a lot that comes together. And it's important that you have someone additionally helping advocate for you, helping, hey, I don't know, is this best? Sometimes an outsider coming in to help bring your thoughts together really will help make the experience that much better. So I highly recommend, if you're planning a wedding, definitely hire JScot. Yeah. You need a wedding planner, hire JScot. But also an event. So, because you also do events, not just weddings.
Yes, big events. So I used to work in the corporate event world, and we would do a citywide event, which means we just take over the entire city. So I planned events for 15 to 18,000 people. Wow. To in Miami, Louisville, Dallas, Houston, a lot of cities all across the country. Mm-hmm. But it is really essential that you can rely on a team that can execute, follow through. And the thing about having a wedding planner, which is my best advice that I give to anyone. And my best advice that I can give to a bride, to a groom, to a couple, is to hire a planner. I have other advice too, but whether it is
a hairdresser.
Yes, it is true. And we bring some of those people on staff that day. But whether it's a small intimate event on a weekday afternoon that's only going to be for a few hours, or you're having hundreds of people for a multi-day event, you definitely need someone that is seasoned, has the experience and the knowledge to be able to be solution oriented, right, who is there that can handle the things that might pop up. And I always say, when things pop up at events, I'm doing my job if I have the time to handle it and to take care of it, and not, I'm not working through the event. But a good planner will also ask you questions leading up to it, because they have the experience. They can see things that a lot of, most people, they're having one big wedding once in a lifetime. So they don't have the experience. They don't know what they don't know. And I think a planner's job is to poke holes and say, hey, what if this happens? What if this happens? I know this probably would never happen in your family or with your friends, but what about that plus one, or that plus, someone else is bringing here, or, there's a vendor that has to have a substitute because, life happens. So you get all those answers. You allow the couple, the bride and the family and the groom and their family, to enjoy and maximize their experience, and you handle all those things that come up. But you're absolutely right. I like to turn the wedding into an event.
Yes. And it's so true. And I think one of the many things that I really appreciated, and maybe this is just me, Randy, but JScot was very good at itinerary. So good at it. Yeah. I think the itinerary allowed the team to stay together as one unit. Even if it went off a little bit, everybody was able to bounce back, and you're very good at that, JScot. I think that is your secret, like literally your secret touch to like all your events. Your itinerary game is so good. So
thank you.
And even not just with weddings, but also with pageants, which we need to talk about.
we love pageants. Yes, it's so much fun.
So JScot, you know, I obviously you have been a part of the pageant community for so long, but you know, having the honor to be the state director for Indiana and now West Virginia, USA pageants, which has been so incredible. And congratulations on taking on another state, which what an honor. And there's, I love this. This is such a great shot. This is at the Miss West Virginia USA and Miss West Virginia Teen USA pageant. And such a beautiful production. JScot puts together top-notch, first-class productions, both in Indiana and West Virginia, USA. And he MCs his pageant. Impressive, right, Randy?
Yeah.
Impressive. So impressive. So how do you do it all?
With a lot of good help from great people. You know, it is. And I will tell you that it's so easy for me to plan events for other people. But it's a little more challenging to plan your own event because, you know, you have things in your mind and how it's supposed to run and logistics. I love logistics. That's the nerd in me is in pageantry and weddings, the logistics, the timelines. I love a big, long timeline. That's just my vibe. I really enjoy that. But I would have to say that you really have to create those relationships because you have to put a lot of trust in other people that, you know, who's playing the music, who's from security, for whatever it is. It's really about creating a team of people that all have the same vision. They all have the same goal. And Vincenza, you know, we talk about pageants, we talk about the pageant day and the pageant weekend, but as you know, more than anyone, when you commit to that role, you are committed for the entire year. It is work around the clock all year long.
Yes, it is. Very, very true. And it's such great photos. Oh, okay. So JScot hosted, he was one of the MCs at my pageant this year for Miss Delaware USA, Miss Delaware Teen USA, the 2024 pageant. And
it was so much fun.
Oh, it was so great. It was such an honor to have you. And those are my two title holders. So we help each other out. We always enjoy helping each other out. And that's something, you know, obviously our friendship that we share. But JScot, you are very good at what you do. And you said it perfectly about the timeline and the logistics. And I think that is why you do it well, whether it's for a wedding, a special event, or a pageant. And it makes you that much, you know, that more diverse in what you can, you know, put together and curate. And I think, you know, if someone was seeking out a planner, whether it be for a special event or a wedding, you can do it because of your experience and you have this diverse resume. I mean, and I feel like that is, you know, in your favor tremendously because you can put together different styles of weddings or different styles of events. Randy, if you're planning your next event, you really should consider hiring JScot.
Well, I will.
Yes.
Let's do it, Randy. Let's do it.
Yeah. I'm hoping to get the pepper too.
The pepper. No, you need the dominant one. I'm telling you, the dominant one. That's everything. Oh, well, look at that. Such a great shot. Who is your photographer? Your photographer is dynamic.
The Code Creatives out of Miami.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, these photos are phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, they do a really, really, really great job. But Vincenza, you keep saying the same word and it's something that I hold on to like it's oxygen, and that is experience. And when people are planning their own events, sometimes I think there's missed opportunities because they're not utilizing the entire thought process in planning the event. So whether it's a guest, whether it's a wedding, and it's the bride and the groom, the family, their guests, their wedding party. Walk through it from start to finish. What type of experience are they going to have? And that helps you make decisions. And when you have that experience and people leave and they're like, wow, I want to go do that again. So coming to the Indiana USA pageant or coming to the West Virginia USA pageant, I want it to be an experience, not just for the contestants, but for those that are watching and that come and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. I can't wait for next year. And that, that you hit the nail on the head when people are like, I can't wait for next year. I had so much fun, because it's about the experience.
Yeah, I think any business is based on the experience. Like, I know in hairdressing, people are looking for an experience. Like, you can get your haircut at many places, but you can't get the same experience at many places. And I know restaurants are the same way.
Yeah, very true, Randy.
Absolutely.
And JScot, next time you visit us in Delaware or Pennsylvania, because Randy has 5 locations in the tri-state area of Curry Hair, Skin, and Nails.
It's amazing. High five to you.
Yeah, 45 years, right? Hats off.
That's why I'm white.
He has been, focusing on the customer experience for 45 years, and he does such an incredible job at all of his locations. So next time you're, in town, I definitely recommend you check out Curry Hair, Skin, and Nails. And, Randy, you can give the grand tour of your locations, because it really, what we all do, we focus on the experience, if you think about it, whether it be in the restaurant, the hair salon, special events, weddings, and pageantry. I mean, we focus on the individual experience, whether it be a contestant, a customer, a bride, a groom, whatever it may be. And that's important to always keep that in mind. Now, with the pageant coming up, the Miss USA and Miss Teen USA pageant coming up, how are you feeling?
I am so excited. Having 4 title holders. This is the first year I'm going to nationals with 4 title holders. And again, the experience, because here's the thing, Vincenza, and I know that you can relate to this, after having produced several years as a state director, we all have the same finish line. August 1st for teens. Excuse me, I have to get a drink of water.
Oh, get a drink of water. And I hope I had the date right. Did I have the date right for Miss USA? Was it August?
Yes, on August 4th.
That was
August
right.
4th for Miss USA. So we all have the same finish line, but every title holder comes into that role at a different starting point. She has a different skill set, different experiences and life experiences. And so it's really important that as a director, you play into where they are and where they want to be. And so, yes, leading into these last 4 weeks, going into nationals, it's fun. It is so much fun, because you see the things that's starting to come together, and you see the growth, and you see how excited they are. And again, it's and it's an experience for the families as well. And so it is. I'm excited. I can't wait to see you and spend some time with you out in Hollywood. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be live on the CW network on August 1st, and then live again on the CW network on August 4th.
Yes, Randy, you should have come out to the pageant. Hang out with us.
I would love to.
Yeah, come out to the pageant. And I have to mention this, talking about the experience, because it just came to me. I had the opportunity and honor to judge one of JScot's pageants. It was the Miss Indiana USA and Miss Indiana Teen USA. I believe it was 2 years ago, about two like last year, almost 2 years ago, but last year. All the years are blending. And we had the opportunity to go to the lobby, the main lobby, right before the production, the main pageant started, to take pictures on the red carpet. And let me tell you, talk about an experience. I was just quickly, put out there, and I had to come back in and locked up and, stay away from everybody because I was a judge. But I wanted to be a guest at your pageant. I wanted to be in the audience, because the experience you created from the moment all of the guests, all of the parents and families and audience members that were coming to watch their girl compete for the Miss Indiana USA, Miss Indiana Teen USA pageant, they had this, blown away with this first class experience from the moment they opened the doors. Wow. There was music, there was a DJ, there was red carpets, there was step and repeat, there was media, there was pictures being taken, there was signage everywhere. It was like it was so neat. And I said, oh my gosh, I want to do that at my pageant someday. But you created that experience, and the show didn't even start yet. The production didn't even start yet. You created the experience from the moment they walked through the door, and that's the first impression they got. And it created that excitement. You're like, okay, what's going to happen behind this door now? Like it was so great, and you're very good at that. And I admire that. And I wanted to highlight that moment.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
You know how to spice things up.
High five, Randy. High five.
I'll do it for you, Randy. Here we go. That was very good. Very, very clever. Very clever. Well, it's really neat to obviously be a part of the Miss USA, Miss Teen USA organization as we're preparing our title holders and being state directors. But I know that you always continue to stay busy all year round, whether it be in the pageant world or in the wedding events world. Now let's talk about emceeing a little bit. So would you say that's like the number one thing you enjoy doing, or you prefer creating the event itself and being that planner?
Oh, creating the event. I really do. Yes, I'm actually leaving in a couple of days to MC an event down in Orlando, and it's always a huge, huge honor and to MC the event. And it is it's one of those things that I'm probably one of the most extroverted introverts you'll ever meet, because I can MC an event in front of thousands of people because it's not about me. I'm delivering the message. I'm helping, to create, the event for the experience for the other people. But you put 7 people in front of me and sing happy birthday is like the longest minute and a half of my life. I'm like, stop it. No more. Let's turn this around. But, what emceeing does, it allows me the opportunity to meet so many other people. And what pageantry does, it brings together a diverse, experience, unique panel of judges, because a lot of times the judges they come from all these different variety of backgrounds and experiences. And so I love the networking. I love the behind the scenes of it all. And it's exciting to watch people to flourish and to celebrate their hard work that they put into it. So that's what I enjoy about emceeing. And it was because I emceed, it led me into coaching by accident, pageant coaching by accident, and which led to a bride who had an emergency that I had coached asked me to fill in on her wedding day. And that's where I really fell in love with weddings. And so had the MC not been there, had the pageant not been there, I don't know if I would be working in weddings or in events or not. I don't know, but it's funny how life just takes you leads from one thing to another.
Yeah. So now, next up, you're launching a digital course, Plan Your Wedding Like a Pro. So let's talk about that. That's exciting.
It is exciting. I'm so excited. I've poured a lot of hours into creating the curriculum. And what I have watched when I've been a guest at weddings or just been a part of or hearing about it, again, it's the experience that people are not having because they put so much pressure on themselves and they're doing things themselves. There are going to be brides, grooms, and couples who are never going to plan, or excuse me, they're never going to hire a planner for whatever reason. They're just not going to. And so I want to provide a valuable resource. There's a lot of wedding planning books that are out there that you can utilize and use, but my course also comes with access to myself. And so the course, there's videos there, and it's really good, usable. I have planned events for 8 weddings for 18 people, up to 800. I have, in the backyard of a bride's home, her parents' home, to ballrooms, beaches, castles in Scotland. And, so I'm just taking all of this experience and really curating a very useful resource for couples that either want to plan their own wedding from start to finish or feel like they can't afford a planner. But what it does, it gets you to a point where, I've planned my wedding. now I created this playbook that I actually can hand off to someone else, and they can, even if I hire someone just to be with me for the weekend. So it's going to help a lot of people in a lot of different areas, especially those that are very, very busy, they just feel like they just don't have the time to spend with a planner. Like, I can just do stuff on my own. So it's going to be a very good resource for people that want to plan their own wedding.
Yes, I think it's extremely modern. Very relevant with the times, especially how tech savvy everyone is nowadays. And I think that with new brides and grooms, they are extremely tech savvy and everything is digital. And to be able to communicate with them or coach them through or give good feedback or information or just even tips and tricks. And that was something that you were also very good at. Like, you knew the process. You gave me good advice in moments of, oh, I'm going to be speaking with this particular vendor. JScot was like, okay, don't forget to ask these key point questions. And he would give me a list of questions to ask. And I felt that that was very helpful because I'm so overwhelmed with so many things going on. Mind you, juggling, operating a restaurant, planning a state pageant, doing a podcast, being on television. Oh, we're planning a wedding too.
You did it all, and you did it all so beautiful.
Thank
You did it
you.
all so fantastic, and you were such a wonderful bride to work with, and you really were thinking about other people in the process, and that was so. I just admire you for that, and I'm still so honored that you even asked me to to help plan. And I think that one of the things that people also in planning their event, they feel so much pressure from a lot of family traditions, social media. I have to do this. No, you don't. It is your day. And I think one of the best compliments that any couple that are getting married, when people leave their event, they're like, that was a Vincenza wedding. That was a Randy wedding.
Right.
And so you don't have to listen to all of the stuff, and you don't have to do all the things. And when people ask me, like, JScot, should I do this? I don't know. I'm like, well, is it unlawful? They're like, no. I'm like, is it unbiblical? They're like, no. I go, is it tacky? They're like, no. I'm like, do it.
Do it.
Hey,
there you go.
do it.
We just have to talk it out. So there's a question talking about budgeting and whatnot. And that's a big part of the process. You're making sure you have a clean budget. You have to put it on paper. I recommend it just because it gets overwhelming. And, just to kind of talk about it a little bit more, JScot, you also help kind of coach your brides and grooms or special people hosting special events. Doesn't have to be just wedding planning, because you also do special events. You coach people through going through a budget, right? You have the great prepared questions. You're really good at it.
Thank you. But I think, when in talking about, vendors and the questions that you ask, at the same time, those vendors are also interviewing you. They may realize that maybe you're not a good fit for us, or you're not a good fit for our venue. So you have to be mindful. Don't ask too many questions, but ask the right ones. Yes. And what a budget does, and let's be real, we want to have fun. We want to go out. Like, when we go buy a new car, buy new clothes, we don't really want to pay attention to the budget. We don't want, but we know that the budget is there as guardrails, and it helps people focus, and it helps make decisions faster. So I always say, don't start out with and then I've had clients that did not have a budget. I have worked with them from start to finish, and they never had a budget. It's one of the most difficult events to plan, because there are so many vendors and there are so many resources that I can go to, but it's like, I don't know. Can you just tell me, do you want to stick in between here or here? So the question, what is a big budget and what is a small budget? It is so difficult to answer. And what a lot of people don't realize is that when you go to a venue and they say, hey, it's a $40,000 food and beverage minimum. Well, that $40,000 is just on food and beverage. That doesn't include the sales tax, the service fees, and the service charge that you have on that. So really, that 40 can turn into 65 really quick.
Right.
And so if it's okay, I'm not going to give a number, because it's just hard. Because
it's hard. I agree.
Yeah, and I think you have to realize, what you're allocating your funds, for, and because I can have a $25,000 event, and if it's only for 5 people, that was a lot of money spent. But if it's 25,000 and you want to have 400 people, well, then that's a low budget wedding. So I think you just have to put things into the right equation, and then whether or not, because I planned events that are, a couple tens of thousands of dollars. And I think the highest one I've ever planned, I think went just north of 1.5 million. So it ranges, it just ranges.
Was that yours?
That was that awesome wedding in San Diego, right? That was the.
Well, I won't say which one it is, just because of this particular client never
Right,
wants to be named.
It was all of them. All of them are beautiful. Listen, and here's the thing, and I always give this advice to anyone now that I've been through it. Yes, it's healthy to have a budget, but it's not going to make or break whether you spend the most. You do what's going to be healthy for you. Stay in a healthy range. Don't overextend yourself, and make sure that you and your, partner are happy. That's what it comes down to. That's what it really does come down to.
I was not in.
And I think.
Sorry. I was not in wedding planning, but I built several salons. And when you work with an architect, they always say, what's your budget? And I always say, I want you to create, the most spectacular place. And then we'll start from there and cut out, till I get what I want, with the money I, spend. And I think that's, good in certain cases, because I don't want to limit your planning or ideas.
Right.
I love that you said that, Randy. That boom, music to my ears, because I always say, let's put everything in the funnel, because not everything's going to come out. Let's just put it in. Let's just put it in. But then I think it helps you realize your priorities, what you want, and how you want it. And how you want to get there. But I think one of the best things that people can do is to go ask those who are newly engaged, go ask people who are recently married, and say, where did you spend money that you didn't think you were going to? Like alterations is a big one. A lot of people, they plan out for their custom suit or their beautiful wedding dress. But then a lot of people want to get fit, so that their size changes. Now you need alterations, and some of those alterations are big. So I would go ask people, where did you spend money that you didn't think that you were planning on, and then work that into your budget, because a lot of people just don't see the fees and the taxes and all that stuff, which is a big part of the budget.
Right. And I'm sure that's something that you'll talk about on your, in your digital course. You'll talk about those details, and something that I also learned about tipping, making sure that you are tipping correctly, what is appropriate, because I don't plan a wedding every day, right? I don't do this every year. I plan a pageant every year, and I know how that goes, and I operate the restaurant, but the wedding, you're not doing it all the time, and you don't know. And I think that's what's really important about this digital course, that it's providing education, information, solid, good education and information that will help build that confidence for bride and grooms, or anybody planning an event, or maybe even, a wedding, obviously, but anybody planning an event, that it will help give them that confidence they need to make those hard and difficult decisions.
Yep.
Which I think which we're excited for. I wish it existed about a year ago. Or 2 years ago, whatever.
Are destinations weddings becoming more popular?
Oh, good question.
They are, and a lot of people think that it's out of the budget, but really it's not. And I get asked a lot of times, isn't it really more difficult to plan a wedding that's far away? No, it's really not. You're still doing the same things, and the way the technology is, and Zooms and calls, you can really do a lot of things. Sometimes even more so, because it is far away. Because when I go to those destinations and I'm planning, we have a lot of things we have to punch out on the agenda. But you approach it just the same. You interview the vendors, you get the best on your team. But destination weddings, the best thing about destination weddings is that, think about it when you leave for vacation. Sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I left my brain back at home and I'm on vacation. Every day is a Saturday. every day's a Friday. So people can get married on a Wednesday afternoon, and you might think back in your hometown that might be a little different, because people have to get up and go to work the next day. But when you're on destination, it can be any day you want it to be.
I love that. Every day's a Saturday. I didn't even think of it that way. That is so true. Good. Every day's a Saturday. Randy's getting t-shirts made here. We're going to be selling them soon at all career skin nail salons.
When I got married, it was 1990. And the thing that, I think about now, we go and look at the wedding pictures, and some of the people I don't even know, like that were at the wedding. I would rather spend more money in a destination wedding and beautiful wedding and have like 25 people, good friends or, relatives. And,
an intimate setting, an intimate number.
Yeah.
I understand. And I guess it comes down to that personal preference that you don't need a big wedding to have a great, memorable time. You don't need it. Do what's best for you. And I'm sure you give that advice to every single person you speak with planning an event, mainly a wedding. I'm sure you give that advice. Don't focus on appeasing everyone. Focus on what's making you happy, and you don't have to have this big wedding to make something so beautiful and memorable. And I think that's what JScot's really good at too. He's good at a lot of things.
I can tell.
Thank you.
I have to give a shout out to Kyle. You will love Kyle. Kyle is awesome. He is such a great support system to JScot, and JScot's very busy. I mean, Kyle's busy too, because he's also, very busy with what he does in his line of work, but JScot's moving and shaking. And I do believe that it's important to have that partner, that life partner, that support system that lets you grow and shine. And he's so good at that. And I just want to give him a shout out, because I love him, and my family loves him, my sister, and he's really such an awesome person. So I just wanted to give him a shout out, because we did talk about him in the bio.
Thank you. I appreciate that. He adores you too, and your sister as well. In fact, he just said that when we were on the phone the other day. He's like, I just love her sister. Her sister is so great. And so, no, but thank you so much. But it is true. Yeah. And it's funny, because sometimes, a lot of times he'll go with me to the destination, events or weddings, but he always asks, it's like, where is it? Nah, I'm going to skip on that one. But most of the time he's like, oh, it's there. Okay, I'm going. It's Hawaii. Okay, I'm going to go.
Yeah,
Southern California. Okay, I'm going to go.
Right. And something else that I love about JScot, his family. He's got such a great family. I've had the privilege of meeting his family when I went to judge Miss Indiana USA. And my sister also can attest to this, because she also experienced it as well, that he has such a beautiful family. They support each other, and they're there for one another. And it shows in what you're doing, that strong foundation, that support system that allows you to continue to grow.
And a family business, like it's really family businesses are strong, like your sister.
Right. And they're at the pageants helping out. I know that mom's there, and it's just really great and your sister, but it's really great because you talked about this, and just kind of go back a little bit. I wanted to highlight it, and it just came to me. You talked about, when you're putting together and producing your state pageants, you credited your team. You talked about it. Yes, you're a phenomenal leader and communicator, and you're very good at what you do, but you also put together a team of incredible people that help everyone shine. And I wanted to highlight that, because I do think that's an important part of being a successful planner, whether, you're planning an event, a wedding, or a pageant. It's your team that you have in place.
It is. And there's one, people may not even think of it, but I have a seamstress. I hire a seamstress on my wedding day, and she or sometimes he is there all day, but I also have it at the pageant, just in case there's that emergency that comes up or whatever. And again, it's somebody that wants to be there. It's somebody that wants to provide value and a resource and be resourceful, and is just happy to be there. and to help out. But you're right. It takes a team. It takes a big team of people to pull all those things off. 100%.
It takes a village. We say it all the time. Hey, Scott, we are concluding this incredible interview and podcast interview with you. And we appreciate you taking time out of your very busy schedule to be with us. I know that you have to be very busy because you don't have just 2 title holders. You have 4 that you're getting ready for your national competition. So on top of juggling everything you're doing, I'm sure you're very busy, but we do appreciate you taking the time to speak with us and, obviously sharing with the world and what you do, because I do feel that people need to know. They need to really see, hey, you need a wedding planner, an event planner, even an MC. This is your guy. This is the guy.
Vincenza, thank you so much. And Randy, thank you so much. I really appreciate all that you guys do. And
don't forget the question.
Oh, I didn't. I wasn't. I know I could count on Randy.
Because I'm curious
what he'll say. Okay. So at the end of all of our podcasts, we always like to ask our guests this traditional last question. So here's the question. If you could interview anyone from the past or present on a podcast, who would it be and why?
If I could interview anyone past or present, who would it be and why? One of the first people that comes to mind, it started, my first international trip was at the age of 13. I traveled with my grandmother and we went to London and we traveled for an entire month. And one of the places I wanted to go to was Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. And I went in and they had this massive display of the royal family. And at the age of 13, I was hooked. I probably almost daily read something about British history. I love it. I'm not an expert on British royalty, but I would say I'm very well knowledgeable. I can probably list in order the line of succession for the first 50 people in line to the throne. So I would say if I had the opportunity, because I think she has this wealth, not that she would share it, but she knows so much and is so knowledgeable, and I'd have so many questions for her, it would be Queen Elizabeth II.
Wow. My money was on Colonel Sanders.
He was like, it's going to be Colonel Sanders. I did not know that about you. That's another fun fact. Very knowledgeable in so many things, JScot. That's very interesting, but also very fitting because the Queen and royalty and
the crowns, just all of it. I love it all. I love it all.
You just want to be in it all the time. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you continued success as you launch this digital course, Plan Your Wedding Like a Pro, and also in more, events that you'll be planning and booking and weddings, and all, obviously. Good luck at Miss USA and Miss Teen USA. And I'll see you soon.
I hope I have the chance to meet you.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. The next time I'm in the area, we'll make it happen. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you both, and much success on the future of your podcast. You have great guests.
Yeah, thank you. All right, take care, JScot.
Bye.
Oh, wasn't he amazing?
Yeah.
I always am so blown away with everything that he does. He's so knowledgeable, and he continues to learn, and he continues to grow and evolve.
And personality.
Yeah.
He has a great personality.
And so kind.
Yeah.
So kind, so genuine. Yeah. And that's another thing that I admire in him. And that's why I have connected so much with JScot on so many different levels, but I trusted him. You have to find someone for your event, and you know that you are looking to help plan, organize, lead, or get you to your goal. You have to trust them. And I trust him. Right. And I'm so glad that I followed my intuition. I followed my heart, because it's been amazing. And, obviously everything was beautiful, but it just continues to be amazing. And it's such an honor to be a part of his world and his circle, but I'm really excited for his new digital course, Plan Your Wedding Like a Pro. Check out his Instagram pages at JScot or at jscot.planner. Definitely follow him. He's really great at, even follow his the pageant pages, Miss Indiana USA, Miss Indiana Teen USA, Miss West Virginia USA, and Miss West Virginia Teen USA. Follow all 4 pages. He does such a great job leading his title holders and being a very involved state director. He's really great at what he does because he cares. He puts his whole heart into it.
And your wedding was absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really
well, it takes a village, but I was, I'm very, very honored to have the opportunity to work with JScot. And it was funny. The moment I met him was at Miss USA one year. And it was my first year as a director. No, it was my second year as a director. And I met him and I said, oh, he's a wedding planner. Oh, he's a state director for Miss USA, Miss Teen USA. He loves pageants. He's planning a wedding. What perfect person to pick for a wedding planner than him? He understands. He speaks my language. He gets it. Nothing is over the top in pageant world. So it was just really great, but also just a true professional, respectful, and very detailed oriented. And he really does focus on that experience. He creates that beautiful experience at all of his pageant productions, but also the events that he hosts and organizes, but also the weddings he plans. And I wish him continued success. And I hope someday you get to meet him, Randy. You have to have him come to the salon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We give him a day of beauty.
Day of beauty. Oh, he'll love that. He'll definitely love that. Well, what another great here we go. Another great podcast, 33. Stay tuned for our next one. We will be taking a small, short break, and I will take the blame. It's because Miss USA and Miss Teen USA is coming up, and I'm very, very busy with that. So thank you for everyone. But definitely check out our website.
Yep.
Go check out. We have an Instagram page. Go check out all of the 33 episodes of 33 phenomenal, talented, accomplished individuals that we've had the honor to have on our podcast and interview them and have them, give them a platform to share their stories, share their inspiration, share their knowledge, share their products, share their book, whatever it may be. Go check out all 33 episodes on ProntoPodcast.com. You can visit and you could follow on our Instagram page at the Pronto Podcast. And then also, we are always looking for sponsors. Interested in sponsoring a show? We are always looking for sponsors and we could feature them. Definitely check us out. You can go to the ProntoPodcast.com and just sign up. If you want to be a guest, sign up. We're always looking for guests, but we will get back in September.
Yeah. And the beauty about being a sponsor, these podcasts last forever.
Right.
Like it doesn't go away. So once you are a sponsor, you're
exactly.
a sponsor for life.
Exactly. So definitely check that out. And again, thank you for joining us. Everyone have a beautiful summer.
Yep.
Pronto, Randy.
Pronto, Vincenza.